What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle tonight. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I'm here with Dan Loya, coming off a crazy Week 11, ton of good games. Dan, which game stood out to you the most here this week?
I think it was the heavyweight matchup in LA with the Rams. I think it's the Rams Seahawks. That was the game I was most excited for this week. I think it lived up to the hype. It was a 2 point game. The Rams played extremely well, and I just think it was a battle, man. It was a heavyweight battle, and just
Yeah,
watching those two teams, it just shows you like how good the uh, NFC division conference is, and that division NFC West, man. It's loaded. Those teams are playing awesome, and unfortunately there had to be a loser today, and the Rams are first place now with the win. And I just thought it was a great game to watch.
yeah, it was definitely interesting for sure watching that one unfold. The Rams, they came out pretty strong. Two quick touchdown drives. They got up early, and then
Yeah,
their offense kind of went quiet from that point on and was not as effective as they normally are. But Dan, I mean, Sam Darnold, 4 interceptions. I kind of mentioned it heading into the game that I didn't feel super comfortable in Darnold matching his production in a large part due to that pass rush for the Rams, and it got to him early. Once it got to
yeah,
him, he was affected. He didn't see the field as well, and he struggled the entire day. So with him, I think it's definitely interesting to kind of see that regression take place, and be a little bit concerned long time. Uh, you know, I don't know. It's so weird with Seattle because I look at Sam Darnold's performance and I say he can't play much worse, and they were in position to win that game at the end with the
that's the
field goal.
thing. Yeah,
This defense, right? There's two teams in the NFL, and we'll talk about them in a little bit, but the Broncos and the Seahawks genuinely could win Super Bowls this year despite having suboptimal quarterback play. Uh, you know, when it's said and done, right? I think those are the two teams I look at that top to bottom, their rosters are good enough to win a Super Bowl. Their defenses are unbelievably good and dominant, right? Those are two teams I look at that don't have an elite quarterback, but can do it in the playoffs. And Sam Darnold, if he doesn't throw those 4 interceptions, we're going to see these teams match up in Seattle. I think they walk away as a winner. And I was impressed with how their defense played. I know a lot of people will be down on Seattle after that one, but my goodness, it was not a great performance overall from Sam Darnold,
yeah,
but impressed with the defense. What were your thoughts on the Rams?
yeah.
And if you're wondering which one of us bribed that referee for a PI, I mean, my goodness, that was the worst call of the season by far. So that one's not going to get much love on social media for sure. What were you going to say, Dan?
No, just I'm looking at the stats. I can't believe that the Rams didn't record a sack that game. That's kind of nuts because if I feel like
Yeah,
Sam Darnold was running for his life, it just shows you because I thought so coming in that just Sam Darnold's been real slippery in the pocket. He's great at eluding sacks this year, and I think if there's one, I wouldn't say like weakness. I want to say like Achilles heel for the Seattle team is their offensive line. That's kind of where you can attack this team, and I thought the Rams did a very good job of that. You saw that these guys stunting. You saw those guys defensive ends and nose tackles stunting a lot, and it caused a lot of problems for that offensive line of Seattle. And then once that pressure got on the inside of Darnold, man, he was like, oh crap, I got to make a play, and then that's how those interceptions happen. So, but like you said, man, even with all those mistakes, 4 interceptions, they came out flat. They're down in a hole. It They only lost by 2 points. So I think it just shows that both teams are pretty similar. I think both teams are really good. And I mean, even in the loss, I'm still impressed. But man, the Rams are good too.
yeah.
The Rams got all these guys: Puka, Devontae with one oblique, and he's still out there balling. And Stafford, man, I don't even know what year he's in. 18. He's still pretty good too. So fun game to watch.
Yeah, and Stafford definitely made his case for the MVP with that. That was a big statement win, and the MVP odds are reflecting that right now of how his performance impacted that. So that was a big win for the Rams. Right, they're moving in the right direction. Let's talk about another
Yeah.
NFC heavyweight battle we just watched. Philadelphia Eagles, Dan.
Yeah,
While
man.
their offense is not great this season, I don't
Mhm.
think that they're ever going to wind up figuring out on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense is now firing on all cylinders. Howie Roseman once again cooked during the trade deadline and got the exact pieces they needed. Jalen Phillips looks like an absolute dog. Brandon Graham still got a little bit of life left in him. Their cornerback room's healthy now. They obviously added Michael Carter there too, but Philadelphia is firing on all cylinders and holding Detroit to 9 points is no joke. So What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, man, it just Philly, man. It just the rich get richer at the trade deadline. Jalen Phillips just they got him for cheap, real cheap from Miami, and I mean it's 2 games in a row. He's looked amazing. He added his first sack as an Eagle this week. He's just all over the place on the field, and then I mean that defensive line, man, for the Eagles. It's like Georgia. It's like University of Georgia and Alabama. So SEC defense, man, and they just load up every draft, and it shows up on Sundays. And they're fast, they're big, physical, and yeah, man, it's just tough because like it's tough for the Lions. Like if this game was in Detroit, that Detroit would have had a fast track, no wind. They could have probably blown out the Philly team, but it's on the road. It's real windy out. It's cold. Jared Goff don't like playing in the cold. He's wearing sleeves. It just throws off his rhythm, and it's just a tough game, and this game could be big because now if they tie at the end of the year, Philly would have a tiebreaker, and then the playoffs run through Philly. So this
Yeah,
this was a big game tonight, and I just thought Philly showed, just like you said, man, the offense is not going to get magically going to get any better. They're not going to change. They are who they are, and they're going to have to rely on their defense the rest of the way.
100%. I mean, that's the thing with Philly. Like the biggest theme, I think the biggest theme for, the 2025 NFL season is that there's no heavyweight dogs this year, right? There's every team in the NFL has a flaw, right? And there's
Yeah,
not teams that have the smallest flaws ever that we're going to see go battle each other. Every team is flawed this year, and I think this is one of the more wide open playoff races that we've seen in recent memory. So it's going to be very fascinating to see. I think Philadelphia is going to be very tough to beat. It feels like right now that
yeah,
they are kind of like the Chiefs of last year, to where they never win pretty. They find a way to win every one score game, and they are able to get it done. And they have a great defense that's going to keep them in every single playoff game. They have the experience, right? It's going to come down to when a team matches that Eagles defense and they're able to score points, what is the Eagles offense going to do to respond? And I think that's
thing.
going to be the
Yeah,
biggest question that'll potentially allow them to either repeat this year or be an early playoff exit. I think, the floor for this team is a first round exit if they're playing in the first round. I think the ceiling is a Super Bowl. So with the Eagles, not sure how I feel, but with Detroit, man, Dan, they're second. They're wait, no, they're third now in the division, behind Green Bay, and then
flipping it over.
first place Chicago Bears right now. Detroit, they've been up and down this season. They've played up to competition, they played down to competition, but
It's crazy.
the biggest thing for me is that Jared Goff did not play well enough tonight for them to get a W. I think the defense has played really well for a majority of the season. They've had injuries, right? They've dealt with that pretty well. They looked good. And Dan Campbell, I know a lot of people will talk about him calling plays and them scoring 9 points. I don't necessarily think it was Dan Campbell's fault for this performance today. It felt like Jared Goff. I mean, I guess you could play Dan Campbell for going for that punt early on. That's probably the biggest mistake he made the entire game. But Jared Goff was not very good tonight, and they have to find a way to work around that. But it's the same thing we talked about with the Lions over the last 2 years. Is Jared Goff is going to lead this Lions team that's incredibly talented as far as they possibly go, and it's going to depend on his performances. If he's not able to go on the road, and this team could and most likely will have to play a road playoff game if they're going to go to the Super Bowl, right? And if it's outside, it's 30 degrees, it's snowing, it's raining, it's windy, right? Golf does not handle those conditions well. And that's the biggest thing that could hold this team back in the postseason. The Lions are as talented as anybody, but you're able to slow this team down if you can slow down their run game just enough and force Jared Goff to beat you on a weekly basis when those conditions are suboptimal for him. So, with that, the Lions definitely have their concerns. I'm not worried about this team missing the playoffs, but I do
Yeah,
think that that division race is going to heat up here. I'm not super impressed with Green Bay. I think Chicago, while their record is really good right now, it seems like they're a little bit overhyped right now at their record. But Detroit, man, they definitely have some stuff they need to address, and it's mostly a consistency thing for them. With Detroit, Dan, do you think the division title is still within reach for them?
yeah, definitely. It's still early for division titles. They're only a game behind Chicago, and I believe they got to play them twice, right? I have to look. I
No,
have to
they
look at the
slaughtered
schedule.
Chicago earlier this year.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's
They
right. I
got
was
they got one more game.
okay. They play them one more time. So yeah, they can easily catch up to them. We know the Detroit overall is the better team. You match them up with the Bears, they're gonna win what 9, 8 out of 10 times. So they're the better team. They'll catch up. They're definitely better than Green Bay. That's crazy that they're 6-4 and the Green Bay and Chicago are ahead of them at this point in the season. That's pretty nuts to see. But yeah, Detroit's gonna catch them. They're overall a better team, and you can't really knock Detroit losing against a team like Philadelphia, man. A super team, another NFC heavyweight on the road, tough game, tough weather. So overall, I'm not worried about Detroit. They're gonna bounce back, and I still believe in that team. I just like how they're getting Jameson Williams involved, man.
I know.
One of their best receivers. It's about time, man. It's
It
about
is
time to
about
see him
time.
get going.
It
Yeah,
is about time. It's nice to see JMO get going. But I guess let's talk about that Bears Vikings game since we're talking about
mhm.
that NFC North.
Get a
JJ
Bears.
McCarthy, nine, whatever you
Oh yeah.
want to call him, his alter ego.
Oh,
My goodness, this guy was not very good against the Chicago Bears. And
uh,
it didn't help that his receivers could not catch a pass at all. And this offense was never within rhythm. But they once again found a way to take the lead in the fourth quarter against Chicago, in a large part due to Ben Johnson not sticking with the run the entire fourth quarter. But the Caleb Williams and the Bears, they found a way to win. It wasn't pretty. Their defense, once again forced a ton of turnovers, right? It's such a weird, Chicago Bears team. Their defense isn't good. They force turnovers. Caleb Williams is incredibly inefficient, but they have a solid ground game, right? They settle for field goals. They don't score touchdowns. Next week they get the Steelers. They still have the Browns on their schedule. Like we could be looking at the Bears having 9 to 10 wins, and they're going to be in a foot race.
right.
Once their schedule gets a little bit harder on when they make the postseason. And we talked about they have all these division games coming up. The Vikings win was massive for them, making a statement that they're not going to go down easy. And this team is fighting for that playoff berth there. So I was impressed with Chicago. They were gritty. They find ways to win games. I'm not super excited about them long term. I don't think they're one of the teams that could make the Super Bowl this year. I think their playoff outlook is still there. The window is still there. They definitely are going to have a tough schedule ahead. But then Minnesota, my biggest concern with them is they went in all with the chips with JJ McCarthy. They said, "This is our guy. We're going to invest around him." The offensive line has been inconsistent this entire year. They've been haven't been super healthy. You got Justin Jefferson, obviously one of the best receivers in football. Addison, right? You have Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. The offense has a ton of talent. You have Kevin O'Connell, who's coached a lot of quarterbacks and had a lot of success with them. But with JJ McCarthy right now, it just feels different. Damn, this offense is not working within schedule. Nothing is easy for this group, and JJ is not hitting the throws that he needs to for this offense to consistently maintain drives. And then the defensive side of the ball, I've been impressed with how they performed over the last 3 weeks, but they definitely have some holes that make them one of the, not necessarily upper echelon defenses, but one of the better defenses in football. So with them, they had this great roster and they bet on JJ McCarthy in year two, and it just hasn't panned out. And my biggest concern is they have all these chips and eggs in JJ McCarthy's basket. And if it fails, I'm not sure where this team goes. I know Kevin O'Connell has had a lot of success winning games there. He might be the scapegoat. You might, have Quessy, the GM, be a scapegoat, right? Justin Jefferson might eventually get traded. I know this is all long term stuff, but I mean,
Yeah.
the concerns are real with JJ McCarthy right now.
Yeah, definitely. I thought, yeah, he didn't look uncomfortable. It seemed like he missed a lot of throws. Yeah, he's not in rhythm right now, and he's got to play. And fortunately, he was hurt earlier in the season, and you could tell he's kind of a rookie still. There's going to be growing pains, and even like how bad he played uh, this game, the Minnesota had a lead with under a minute to play. If their special teams doesn't give up a long kickoff return, they might win that game. So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. Like we might have flipped the script here, but still, I mean, overall, win or lose, he didn't look good today. Too many interceptions. Just overall, the offense. I think they got to rely more on that running game. I think they got away from it. I don't know what you think, but I thought they got away from it like too early. Like they were down, I don't know, 10-3, 13-3, and it just felt like they were too pass heavy. And then they were
Yeah.
going 3 and out, and it was just like, why are we putting all that pressure on JJ? Like let's get Aaron Jones going, let's get the Jordan Mason going. So I thought like that's where they kind of screwed up today. But yeah, I mean flipping sides, like the Bears, dude, like somehow, some way they keep finding ways to win. And I think they might lead the NFL in interceptions still.
Yeah. They have the most takeaways this year, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, it's just crazy to think that, and I think it just comes down to coaching, man. Like just a new regime. You got Dennis Allen in there, a respected head coach, a respected defensive coordinator, and they just put their guys in the right spot. And Kevin Byard having a career renaissance,
Yeah.
leading the team in interceptions, and I mean it's hard. Like when a team continues to do this like week in week out and just find ways to win and get interceptions and takeaways, like that's not luck anymore. Like they're pretty good, and they crunch time they figure out how to win, man. So it's crazy that the Bears are first place after 11 weeks, man. Crazy. Especially after week 1, after they lost. Crazy.
Yeah. It has been very unpredictable this year. That is a great way to
Yeah.
put it. We'll see how that NFC North race plays out, but
Mhm.
I think it's time. Let's talk about the AFC West game, the Broncos
Oh, here we
versus
go,
the
your
Chiefs.
team. Yep.
Do you want
Let's
me to
hear it.
start with this one?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
All you.
basically, this is where I'm at with the Kansas City Chiefs this year, right? It's not a talent question with this team, and obviously, I'll talk about some of the concerns with them. Well, the problem with the Chiefs this year is their star players are not performing and coaches are not performing like they have in the past. This is not the expectation and what the Chiefs should be playing at and what we've seen them play at over the last 7 to 8 years, right? Today's a great example of that. Andy Reid, right? There were multiple occasions today where they had third and short, and they decided to pass the ball. Doesn't make any sense to me. Kareem Hunt had a great day, was averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Dan, they threw the ball 45 times, and Kareem Hunt ran the ball 13 times. No other running back recorded a carry. That is a 4-to-1 pass to run ratio against the league's best pass defense. That game plan, right? It's not good enough, Andy Reid, and they have made zero adjustments to run more under center, which has been their most successful formation the entire year, and it's not taken off any pressure off of Patrick Mahomes. So with Andy Reid, he's not been good enough. His ideas are stale. The NFL is catching up to him, and the Chiefs are suffering because of it, right? That's the big things with Andy Reid. He has not been good enough, right? That's on Matt Nagy too, because he's the offensive coordinator. With Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes has not played good enough. His worst throws of the season have all been in the red zone this year in every single game they've lost. Today, he decides to try to make a superhero type play, throws an interception. Jacksonville, red zone, interception, right? Washington, he had multiple red zone interceptions, I'm pretty sure. He has had red zone interceptions the entire year, which is something he's never done in his career. But it's a problem this year, and he continues to try to play hero ball when it doesn't make sense to. Like, this is a gritty game. It's 6-6. Settle for 3 points. Live to see another down. Patrick Mahomes is not without blame as to why the Chiefs are 5-5 this year. He has not reached levels of 2022 in 3 seasons now, and you saw it to start the game. He misses Xavier Worthy. He overthrows him up the field instead of in front of him, right? That's a big time touchdown statement play on the first drive that's schemed up perfectly by Andy Reid, and Mahomes misses it, right? Today, he didn't scramble at all, right? This is not the same Patrick Mahomes that goes in the postseason and takes people's souls. This is the Patrick Mahomes that is trying to do too much, and it's just not working out. And part of it, yes, they don't run the ball enough to make him feel comfortable in a game because he's throwing. But Dan, this team found their cornerstone left tackle in Josh Simmons. The guy allowed 2 pressures the entire day against the best sack defense in the NFL. And then you have a receiver core that's actually healthy for the first time in 2 years. It doesn't matter right now because the scheme sucks. Mahomes is trying to do too much, and nothing is working out consistently for this offense. And then defensively, they've allowed 4 different plays in a one-score game in the fourth quarter on a closing drive over 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10, Dan. They've allowed 4 plays to convert. You had Herbert in week 1. You have Devonta Smith against the Eagles. You had a 3rd and 13 against the Jaguars. And then you have a 3rd and 15 against the Broncos. Those are 4 game-losing drives on the defense, and it was the same exact play call where they rush 4 and they drop into a zone coverage. The front 4 gets no pressure, and then the secondary decides not to hold up there. Spags, great coordinator. Even Chris Jones said after the game, the Denver Broncos knew what play call we were going to be in, and we were unsuccessful
Wow.
because of that. Listen, the Chiefs have a Hall of Fame coaching staff, but they have gotten out coached this year, damn. They have a Hall of Fame quarterback who is not playing up to his standards. Chris Jones is not playing up to his standards. The only guy for the Chiefs right now playing up to his standard is Travis Kelsey, who's having almost a resurgent year after 2 straight down years. So you look at the Chiefs at 5-5. everybody is going to be like, fire Andy Reid. I've already seen a ton of it.
Oh,
I've seen people freaking out, right? This team is 5-5. They're not winning the West. The Broncos are going to win the West, which is a crazy thing to say. And, I do have to give credit where it's due. Dan, this is the best defense I've watched since the 2015 Broncos. This defense is unbelievably good. Bo Nix, I told you this on Friday. He was going to play his best game of the year. He was going to show up. This is not the Bo Nix we've seen the entire year. He was phenomenal. He made every throw. And was I wrong? I told you this was exactly what was going to happen, right? He was comfortable the entire day. It's
it's
the
funny.
Chiefs are not playing to their standard, and every team knows when they have the Chiefs on the schedule and is going to bring their best game, and it's not good enough. 0-5 in one-score games this year.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Fortunately for Kansas City, they're not winning the division, and the work is cut out for them to make the playoffs right now. I'll talk about what I think and if they're going to make it, but what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, when you go 1 for
Dan,
Hey, my
Dan
guy.
is a
I'm
diehard. He's
still
still at
there.
the stadium, still at the
Don't
stadium
don't tell
watching
anybody, don't tell
49ers for
anybody.
40.
No, I mean, when you go 1 for 4, man, on in the red zone, you're not gonna win, especially against a team like that, and, still, man, like, you can never rule out the Chiefs, and just that was always the Achilles heel of Andy Reid, man. It was like he always got too pass happy. In Philadelphia, that was his thing. He never ran it with Brian Westbrook. He'd always pass it with, McNabb, and that was always his thing, and he's kinda doing it again now in desperate times. So he kind of reverting back to the old ways, but, when you're on top all these years, like just like you said, the league eventually catches on, and, still though, it's still early. Somehow, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I think the Chiefs will get in the playoffs. The AFC is weak, so I mean, 5-5, they're still in the hunt no matter what. But just yeah, like they're still gonna be okay. Like they're not at the echelon, and they're gonna need a miracle to probably win that division now with this loss. But yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, I don't know what to say because it's ever since Mahomes started, he's gone to an AFC Championship. So it's been like 8 years in a row. So it's like, how are you gonna rule out the guy? But yeah, I mean, they lost today, and Bo Nix made some great plays, and it just like again, similar to the Bears, it's like the Broncos are another one of these teams. Like they're down in the fourth quarter, they need a game-winning drive, and somehow Bo Nix finds a way, and he's done that all season, just like the Bears. And today they found a way too, and they got 3rd and 15 converted, drove down the field, got in the field goal range, burned down the clock, and kicked the game winner. So they're kind of similar, but Broncos top of the division, and it's just like on Thursday night they were comparing this defense to that 2015 team that won the Super Bowl. There's a lot of similarities, and it's kind of scary because they're missing two starters too. But that pass rush is legit, and Benito, man, he's a freak, dude. He's so fast off the edge, and I thought he was causing a lot of havoc today.
Yeah, and I honestly thought like the pass protection was really good against this defense,
Hmm.
and they just never. I mean, they just didn't do enough. I mean, they had so many opportunities, right? And that's the
Yeah,
thing with this Chiefs team. It feels like I think outside of the Chargers game, because the Chargers game they thoroughly just were beat up and down that game, and even that game it was a one-score game where they had a chance to potentially get back into it.
yeah, that's another thing.
But
Yeah, they're
the
weak.
thing is, in all these Chiefs losses, right? It just feels like it's so hard to read this team because you see the talent they have on this roster. You see the ceiling, like in the Lions game, in the Ravens game, when you're playing two healthy, dominant teams and they're able to just manhandle those teams and win by two scores. And then you look at these games
Yeah,
where it's just constant mistakes, the penalties today, right? So with the Chiefs, my outlook is this: like I can see two different scenarios. I think their floor is probably 10-7. I also could see them probably finishing 12-5. So the interesting part this week is they're going to get the Colts. Colts obviously
man,
are 8-2.
Ooh,
They have Lou Anarumo as
tough
their
game.
defensive
Yeah,
coordinator. That's going to be a tough battle, but like the
yeah,
Chiefs, man, they have so many different flaws right now. It is going to be an interesting offseason for this team. And like the thing is you can't expect to go to the Super Bowl every year, right? The Chiefs have
yeah,
been
yeah.
the Chiefs the Chiefs have been so damn good, right? That people's expectations for this team are through the roof on a yearly basis, right? The Chiefs are having a down year, right? If they get in the postseason, I think nobody everybody's going to have a hard time picking against them once they get to the postseason. So the Chiefs
Yeah.
still have 7 weeks to figure it out, right? And I think they're close. They just need to look themselves in the mirror and actually do a true self scout, which should have happened during the bye, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen. So the Chiefs, I am a little bit hesitant, but I do think they make the playoffs. They're minus 220 to still make the playoffs. They were the odds on Super Bowl favorite entering the week. So
Oh, I was like, they still are? Okay.
they'll probably, I guarantee you, they'll probably be within the top 5 to 6 teams
Jeez.
still. But like, they have flaws. And Patrick Mahomes, a lot of people are not going to blame him, but his play has not been up to his standard. And Andy Reid, same thing with him. His coaching has not been up to his standard as well. So their superstars and their superstar coach need to look them in the mirror and figure out a way for this team to start winning games because time is running out for the Chiefs and panic is starting to set in. Let's talk about another
Right.
team in the division who's should be starting to panic, and it's the Los Angeles Chargers, Dan.
Dude, yeah. Holy
This was a massacre, and Justin Herbert got hurt during that game. I know that
yeah.
he wound up playing through it a little bit, but Trey Lance finished the game. This is the same thing for this Chargers team. They can't stop the run right now, right? And their offensive line can't block. That's a really bad combination. I know they already have 7 wins. They're 7-4 right now. But Dan,
Yeah.
it really feels like this team is going to struggle to get to that 10-win mark, right? To close this year. So with Los Angeles, what are your thoughts on them after this blowout loss against
Yeah.
Jacksonville, who was struggling?
Yeah, no, that this was like the statement win of today. I'm glad you brought this up because I remember during our preview, like I thought, like we all know Jackson or Justin Herbert's been getting his butt kicked the last couple of weeks, and without Joe Alt and their Rashawn Slater, man, like he has no time to throw. It's just Herbert making play after play, and the Jaguars coming in were tied 32nd in the league in sacks. So I was like, okay, maybe they can get away with it. Well, today they didn't because Jacksonville was pissed off and they're getting after him. 3 sacks, and that doesn't even tell the whole story. I mean, it felt like Herbert was under pressure all game. He was getting yeah, like I said, he was getting his butt kicked. Man, he got hurt. He was getting slammed, dude. I don't know if you saw the one play. Somebody slammed him to the ground. They didn't call a flag, and dude, it was bad. So
Yeah,
yeah, that
that's
was
the
just a
play I think
statement
he got
win.
hurt on.
Oh, okay, okay. 'Cause, yeah, I didn't have the sound on, but yeah, that could have been it was dude, it was bad. But, like, when's the last time you seen, like, a hardball team get freaking out physical in a game before? It's been a while, and, the Jacksonville Jaguars did just that, man. They they freaking it was a dogfight for them. They played like they needed to win that game, and, they played extremely hard, so Jacksonville, man, especially after, like, a gut-wrenching loss against the Texans last week, they came out, man, they really showed me something today, so I was really impressed with the Jaguars.
Yeah, this is the Chargers. Well, before I
But
talk
dude,
about
yeah,
their upcoming
it's gonna be
schedules,
bad,
but
like,
like
yeah, it's bad for the
this is
Chargers.
what I talked about in the preview is the Chargers have a sneaky bad run defense, and I think that if the Jaguars to win, right, ETN, and it was Bashal Tutin today too that would have great games, and they did, right, and the Jaguars
Mhm.
were able to get home, they stopped the run, and they were able to just absolutely massacre. This is their upcoming schedule for the Chargers. They got the Raiders in week two. This is after their bye. Raiders in week 13, Eagles on Monday Night Football, Chiefs
Brutal,
in Arrowhead.
brutal.
They're going on the road to Dallas. Then they got the Texans, and then they got the Broncos. So they have 6 teams mixed in the playoff race during that stretch, and the Raiders have played a little bit better as of late. So that's a schedule right there for the Chargers, and they're going to have their work cut out for them. And like I said, it's not unrealistic for this team to finish 10-7 or worse to close the season based on the schedule. But the Jaguars, talk about a massive win for this team. They're 6-4 now. I know they haven't been playing as good as of late, but they get the Cardinals next week, right? That'll be, I think, a very interesting game. I know the Cardinals have struggled the last 2 weeks, but could be a bounce
Yeah,
back. Then they get the Titans, then they get the Colts, then they get the Jets, the Broncos, the Colts, the
offense.
Titans. So the Jaguars, this was a big time win for them to try to stay in this playoff hunt, for sure. And with Kansas City losing today, that was a big time jump for this team. So with Jacksonville, their playoff hopes significantly take a bump. Uh, and then
Yeah,
meanwhile, you look at Los Angeles. This was a game they needed to win to continue to maintain that pace because their schedule to close the year is no joke. That is for sure. So talking about the
definitely.
AFC, the Ravens got a big win over the Browns. Obviously, that was a close nut cutter game for the Ravens. And then the Steelers were able to take care of business against the Bengals. Their defense has been very good over the last 3 weeks. Aaron Rodgers did get hurt in that one, though. Dan, what are your thoughts on both these teams as the division race heats up?
Yeah, dude, the Ravens almost blew it. That was my initial thought. I was like,
They
"Man, is
did.
this
They did
the
almost
game?"
blow it.
Dude, is this the game, the typical Ravens that they're gonna blow against the Browns on the road? It just seems like Harbaugh always does that, and, I was texting some friends during the game laughing because they're Ravens fans, giving them crap because I saw it, man. I was like, "Oh, here we go," but the Ravens found a way to win, and, just like the Ravens were down in a hole, and it's better to be lucky than good. They're on a winning streak, and then the Steelers in front of them kind of collapse. The Steelers finally win a game, but Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, so looks like the Ravens are going to catch them. I'm trying to see the standings here, but I don't know about you for Pittsburgh. Did you think the offense looked better with Rudolph?
I wouldn't say it looked better. I mean, we're talking about the Bengals defense here, right? So
Oh well, yeah,
they had a lot of turnovers towards the end of the game, and that definitely contributed to what the score ended up being. But Kenneth Gainwell was the guy that I was looking at in this one. He had a monster game, and he was a big time reason why they were able to secure this one. But the defense was able to shut down that Bengals offense, forcing Jamar Chase to spit on Jalen Ramsey, and then Ramsey threw a punch. Like they did a great job limiting the Bengals, who are one of the hottest offenses in the NFL coming into this matchup, and they needed that win because they have a tough upcoming schedule. But the Ravens, man, this was an ugly win that they needed, and obviously
and
for them, like their schedule has been pretty easy since Lamar returned. They faced the Vikings, the Dolphins, the Browns, right, the Bears. That's who they beat in their 4 game winning streak. They got the Jets still. They got the Bengals. They got the
yeah,
Steelers. They got the Bengals. They got the Patriots, the Packers, Steelers. Like that's not a daunting schedule for the Ravens there. So should be pretty encouraging for them that they're working closer to returning to the playoff picture and potentially that division lead. I do want to talk about this, Dan. Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. It was ugly at first, but these Buffalo Bills team found their momentum and was able to get a big time win over the Bucks. What were your thoughts on that game?
yeah, man. I had my eyes glued to this game early on. It was a great game. The Buccaneers like jumped on them early, and I think at one point like they were point chasing. I didn't really agree with it. They went for two, they didn't get it, and it kind of somehow it like bit them in the butt. But overall, like the point like nobody's talking about was the special teams. The Buccaneers for some reason on kickoff like kept giving up like 40 or 50-yard kickoff returns, and I thought that was like a huge difference in the game. It allowed Josh Allen to get shorter fields, and the Buccaneers defense is playing really well. I think that really costed them. But Josh Allen, man, he put on the Superman cape today. Uh, what do you have? 6 overall touchdowns, 3 passing,
Yeah,
3 rushing.
he had 3 rushing and 3 passing.
Yeah, dude, he was awesome today, man. And that's the scary thing about the Bills. It's like they don't have the best team, but they got a superhero at quarterback, and he can do this anytime. And it's just like,
That's what I'm
whoa,
saying, dude. There's so many flaws with every like good team right now that you just
yeah,
don't know. Like obviously, like we talk about Chicago potentially making the playoffs. No one's scared of the Bears, right? But like
mhm,
you look at like the Bills, for example, they're a flawed team, right? Josh Allen's a very good player that can win you a lot of games, and they've been in the playoffs a
yeah,
ton, right? There's a lot of teams that like this year, the Chiefs are very vulnerable if they get in. The Ravens, we don't know what version of the Ravens we're going to get in the postseason. The Broncos, right? What's Bo Nix going to do in the postseason? We trust the defense, but do we trust Bo? The Colts, we if they make the playoffs, which they probably will, what are we going to
yeah.
get from this team? The Patriots, right? They haven't been in this situation. There's so many unknowns in the AFC, and then the NFC side, like a lot of unknowns there as well. The storyline for 2025 is that you do not know what's going to happen. And the parody of it is entertaining, but it's also frustrating when trying to analyze and make predictions for it because every single week it feels like the number one team in the power rankings is flipping and we don't really know what's going on right now behind the scenes. So, with this, I think that the Bills, I trust them. I'm always going to, regardless of what it is, I'm always going to typically pick the best quarterback, right? And I'm going to ride with them if it's a close matchup. And Josh Allen's the better quarterback. Baker Mayfield, had a solid game today, right? But this Bucks defense is nowhere near where it needs to be to compete for a Super Bowl. They're the same type of team they were last year. They're a frisky team, right? They're going to keep it close. but their defense is just not super talented to keep them in these big time games, and especially in the NFC where you got to beat the Eagles, you got to beat the Lions, you got to beat the Rams, you got to beat the Seahawks, right? There's a boatload of teams in there that the Buccaneers are going to have a handful with taking down in the postseason this year. So with them, I think they're frisky, but I don't think they're among that upper echelon group of teams. But I do think Buffalo is. And then as far as San Francisco, we got a big win over the Cardinals today. I
Oh,
think they're
dude.
in that same category with the Bucks. I like their offense. They're finally healthy, right? And they looked really good today against the Cardinals. But that defense has its flaws. I mean, Jacoby Brissett had a very, very gaudy stat line today against them. What were your thoughts on your Cardinals this week?
Dude, Jacoby Dealin. First off, I was surprised how well like the 49ers look. Like Brock Purdy hasn't played since September 28th. So whatever week that was. But dude, he came out of the shoot like he was on fire and he couldn't miss a throw. And in the first half, he had two touchdowns. Two touchdowns and I think 100 yards. I have to look again. I wrote
Yeah,
about it.
it was 2 straight weeks the Cardinals were down, like, just like that, so
Yeah,
fast.
I'll talk about that in a second. But I thought first off, the 49ers, man, like it just shows you like because Cardinals, I thought they really had a chance today with their injuries, man. The 49ers are still banged up. They're starting to get offensive guys, but still their defenses, they still don't have a lot of guys. And dude, that the 49ers offense was freaking lights out today, man. The Cardinals couldn't cover Kittle, couldn't cover McCaffrey, and then Purdy just looked awesome, and I was shocked, man. Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that too. Uh, and then it just shows you. So here's my point: you got Kyle Shanahan dealing with injuries, and then you have Jonathan Gannon. He came into the week, ravished by injuries as well. But you saw there's a coaching difference. You saw Shanahan's over there putting up 41 points with his team, and the Cardinals came and they scored 22 for the second consecutive week. Most of those points were in garbage time too. So it's just, dude, it's getting bad in Arizona, and I didn't think that would happen this year. Like this is
Jonathan Gannon has a legit chance of getting
bad, dude.
fired before the end of the year.
Dude, it's bad. Like that press conference after the game was bad. He was very upset, and I don't know if anything's gonna change overnight. But I'm gonna wake up early and see if I'm gonna see anything from
If
any
Drew
of these
Petzing is named
insiders.
the interim head coach, I'm gonna lose it. I am going to
Dude, I don't
lose it.
know. I don't know who will be. I think it would be special teams guy, but I'm not speculating or anything because I don't know. But it's bad right now. Like it's
Yeah, I
bad,
mean,
and like
they're
there's
on
no
they're on
signs. There's no signs of hope.
how
Like
many is
it's
it?
kind
Is
of
it
tough for
6
him.
straight losses?
No, it's not because they beat the Cowboys on Monday
Oh, yeah,
night.
they did beat the Cowboys mixed in there, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but besides that, they're 0-4 in the division, and they're getting their butts kicked, man. And I mean, it's just unfortunate because like they dealt with so many injuries. They lost two starting running backs. They're obviously out Marv. Kyler got hurt. It's hit or miss, but overall, man, like still, like you can't be getting blown out back to back weeks. Like eventually, eventually, dude, like you gotta compete, man. That's 2 weeks in a row you're not competing. That's bad. That's bad, and this is when you start losing the locker room. So, and
Yeah,
then just like our guy here, Mr. Haywood, he 17 penalties, a Cardinals franchise record. They had 11 at half, and dude, yeah, it was bad. Just
yeah.
everything bad, and it's never a good thing, man. And this is not good.
The defense is supposed to be his specialty too, and,
Yeah.
with
Thank
how they've performed over the last 2 weeks, not looking good, and Kevin
Yeah.
Patullo, if the Eagles wanna drop him off in, Arizona for Jonathan
Ah,
Gannon, I'm
I don't
sure both
don't
sides
give
would
him
maybe potentially do that deal,
any ideas. Don't give him any
but yeah,
ideas.
with the Cardinals, dude, it's just it felt like they tried to go all in-ish in the offseason, try to improve this team, and it just hasn't
Yeah,
happened yet. The bright side is, like, Will Johnson, Walter Nolan, right? Josh Sweat under contract. Like, they have pieces on the
yeah, their
defensive side
defensive
of the
line,
ball
yeah.
for sure locked up. Obviously, they're gonna have to figure out the quarterback situation, what the next regime wants to do with Kyler. Marvin Harrison Jr. is an exciting piece to, be encouraged about. James Conner, probably not super excited about him, but
I don't
like
think he
there's
comes back.
pieces in Arizona that I think will be appealing to, whoever comes and coaches. Honestly, a name that I wouldn't be surprised gets thrown around again is Vance Joseph, right? I know a lot of people
Mhm.
aren't talking about him in the head coaching cycle, but what he's done in Denver with that defense over the past few seasons, man, that's what a lot of people are looking for in a head coach is who can revitalize a defense and maintain consistency for a multi-year stretch. Vance Joseph has been one of those guys that's done that, and I know he's had a head coaching stint already, but
I think
with that defense in Arizona, that's something I would take a look at potentially as a good fit for him. But overall, I think the last game I want to
I
talk
think
about is Panthers and
yeah.
Falcons.
Oh, dude,
Let's just say this: Bryce
it's
Young,
over.
Bryce Young, man, how where did this come from? Where did this come from, Dan?
Uh,
I like I
dude,
said, the NFL makes no sense this year. Once you
dude.
think something's happening, the opposite happens, and that's what happened with Bryce
Okay.
Young, who set the Panthers passing yards record for a game in this game. What were your thoughts on Panthers Falcons?
How many yards did he throw to? 448. That is
402, I believe.
okay.
448.
Yeah, okay. Dude, like, okay, this is why it doesn't make any sense. Coming into the game, he's thrown for under 200 in 8 of 9 games, and then today he goes off against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Dude, it makes no sense, but here we are. Dude, yeah, I mean, this game was nuts too, because like this game kind of got lost in the afternoon games, and like I turned it on during the Cardinals game. I'm like, dude, this game's still going. We're in OT, and dude, it's like the Panthers didn't have a lot of success running the ball, but still they were able to throw to Tetaroa. McMillan had an awesome game. I benched him in fantasy, so I felt very upset all day. Dude, he went off 2 touchdowns, however many yards. I know he scored like 33 fantasy points. He was awesome today. Dude, Bryce Young, man, out of nowhere, dude. I have no explanation for it. Just like, dude, it's the same thing with the Falcons, and I think this is about the Falcons, and I think this is it, dude. Like this is it for them. Like that, I think this was the nail in the coffin. This was like, there's no coming back from this. There's gonna be something's gonna change there probably at the end of the season. But the Panthers, they swept them. They swept Atlanta for the first time since 2013. So shout out to them and their fans. But
Dave Canales, man, he's making a little bit of progress over there.
yeah, I know, man. Who would have thought? Hey, good for them. Good for their fans, and it's a tough loss for Atlanta. What do you think?
Atlanta's got a clean house, dude. I mean, with the
Yeah,
talent this roster has and them just
yeah.
not being able to consistently perform right at the level they do, right? I talk about. I know this is a bad comparison, but I talk about the Chiefs and the talent they have on offense and them being super inconsistent. The Falcons, it's the same type of story, right? Bijan Robinson has a dominant first half, second half disappears, right? Drake London, dominant first half, over 100 yards, second half disappears. That is play calling, right? Carolina made adjustments at halftime. They made zero adjustments at halftime in Atlanta to continue to feed those guys and make changes when Carolina made changes. Being able to make adjustments on a per quarter basis is what the coaches get paid to do. And obviously Atlanta has continues to struggle with that because whether or not they start out slow or whether or not they pick it up in the second half, there is a disconnect in their game plan that's prevented their star players from being consistent through quarter 1 through quarter 4, and that's why this coaching staff needs to go. Michael Penix played pretty well today, honestly, but he's been super inconsistent this entire year. Bijan's workload never makes sense, right? Drake London is a really good football player, so I think on the offensive side they need something new. And then defensively, like they've shown flashes this year of being good. They're not consistent either, right? We think this is a good defense, but then they perform like they do today, and we just don't know. So the amount of unknowns in Atlanta, it's just a bad overall situation, and that coaching staff needs to go. But with Bryce Young, dude, I'll give credit where's credit's due. I'm not super high on Bryce, but he played great today. He willed his team back to victory, and honestly, it might just be a second half of the year performer because he did something similar last year where he just balled out towards the end of the season. I hope that's the case for them.
Mhm.
But six
That's
and
great.
five, they're in the playoff mix. They do have a very tough schedule to close the season, so I don't think they're going to make it. But 6 and 5 right now. I honestly think if they finish 8 and 9, that's a really successful season for this team. Considering where they were last season. So with Carolina trending in the right direction, I would be encouraged if you're a Panthers fan, but I would still be hesitant because we've yet to see Bryce Young put together a consistent 4 week stretch or even half a season stretch where he proves to be a quarterback one. Dan, are there any other headlines you want to tackle for this week?
Man, let me pull up the schedule real quick. We talked about that game. Houston escaped. That was a real close
They did
game. They
escape.
almost
I don't even want to talk about how bad that was.
Yeah, and then we talked about the Packers as well. Jameis almost got them a win too.
Yeah,
I think we hit every game, man. I think
awesome.
uh I think we hit every game. I think it was a wild week, and just like you said, man, we don't know. We don't know who's gonna be good. Like there's too much. Every team's got a weakness, and Miami almost lost today in Spain. I guess that's the only game we didn't talk about. They almost blew it, and like,
That was the worst display of red zone offense I've ever seen in that one.
dude,
Both
like,
offenses would get in the 15-yard line and just
yeah,
forget how to play football and turn the ball over. I mean, it was so bad. But
dude,
yeah, I mean, listen, football. One thing I can
we
tell you
don't
guys
know.
right now, the 2025 season is the most unpredictable year I've ever seen in my life. Right, so gear up because we still have
Oh
7
boy,
weeks left for this year, and we're going to try to analytically bring you the best advice or predictions that we can do based on the numbers, which is what we do here at Blitz. And we'll hopefully be more right than wrong. But like I said, you can't predict anything in 2025. Drop your comment down below of your hottest take for the rest of the season. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content.
shout out to the chat.
And
Shout out to the chat.
we'll catch you guys next time.